I want to be treated like a professional athlete, just like the professional football players are treated like professional football players. I want to be treated like a professional cheerleader.
A former NFL cheerleader has filed a complaint against the team, accusing it of gender discrimination. Does she have a case? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have more on the cheerleader complaint in a moment, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. As we just heard, it was 50 years to the day Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated on a motel balcony in Memphis, Tennessee. His death not only impacted the country, but also had a huge effect here in Sarasota. Every year, the city holds a breakfast and a unity walk in MLK's honor. When community historian and business owner Jetson Grimes heard the news 5 decades ago, he was working as a barber on 27th Street, which has now been renamed Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Grimes says there was a sense of disappointment in the Newtown community and other areas, but also fear.
You know, the progress that we were making and the things that we had addressed with civil rights and the Jim Crow and segregation, the feeling that there was such a loss that we were going to start losing a lot of that.
And while Grimes agrees progress has been made in the community and the country, he says there is still an immense amount of work that needs to be done. A Bradenton man is behind bars tonight, charged with murder after deputies say he hit a woman in the head and then set her body on fire. 23-year-old Dakota Gibson is being held without bond. Witnesses told deputies Gibson was flirting with the victim, 50-year-old Veronica Polite, outside her home at the City Walk Apartments. Investigators say Polite and 2 others got into the car with Gibson, who later dropped the 2 off and then left with Polite in the car. That was the last time that Polite was seen alive. Her body was found early the next morning in the woods off of the 18th Street East in Bradenton.
She was dead. We can say that before she was set on fire. That's what the medical examiner's office determined. We may never know the true motive as to why he did this, other than he just got angry.
Deputies say there was a large amount of blood found in the back seat of Gibson's car. When deputies tried to arrest him, he ran off, but was later captured a short time later. Now let's head over to ABC7's chief meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the first alert forecast. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. We are looking at a cold front, not much, moving through parts of North Florida right now. The prefrontal trough was out here rather active earlier. You can see a few showers around, say 2, 3 o'clock this afternoon, but those showers have since moved on, and there's really not much to the cold front. Bigger storms over the panhandle earlier. Beautiful day today, lots of sunshine, high temperatures. Basically in the upper 70s, low 80s near the coast. A little bit of rainfall near Cedar Key. This front is not going to be a rain producer for us. Maybe 1 or 2 lone showers at sunrise as it moves through. But currently, it's 76, sunshine, and the dew point is at 67. We'll see this number come down a little bit tomorrow. So the effects of the front will bring us some slightly drier air. Your evening planner looks good. Temperature is still pretty warm, 70 degrees at 11 o'clock. We will see that cold front move through early tomorrow morning, and then, as I said, it won't cool things down much, but it will dry things out, and that's unfortunate because our ground is really quite dry, and we'll show you the Keach-Byram Index, which shows the high fire danger here along the Suncoast.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come, are the Saints treating their cheerleaders unfairly? When we return.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking. I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Letting my friends online know I was quitting kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it. You can too.
For free help, visit cdc.gov/tips.
We've all heard how military veterans adjusting to the civilian world may have certain issues.
30. 78.
If only everyone had this issue. No matter what challenge they face, Easter Seals is here for America's veterans.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Download the all-new ABC7 First Alert weather app now.
The story of a former New Orleans Saint cheerleader now living in Sarasota is making headlines across the country and even around the world. Tonight, ABC7's Erica Jackson reports on Bailey Davis and her fight against one of the NFL's top teams.
Alan, thank you. The former cheerleader now living in Sarasota has filed a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission against the Saints, accusing the organization of gender discrimination. The complaint comes after she was fired following a social media post and claims cheerleaders have to follow strict fraternization and social media rules, while the football players don't have the same regulations.
It's not fair that we work our whole lives just like the players do to be treated like this.
Sarasota resident Bailey Davis cheered for the New Orleans Saints for 3 years, but in January, she was fired.
We're both employed by the Saints, so I think our rules should be the same.
Her termination is now raising questions of fairness and whether the team is holding its star players to the same standards of its cheerleaders. The St. Sacian's cheer team's handbook states cheerleaders will be terminated for socializing with the team's players, reading, being in close proximity, or socializing beyond general professional courtesy will be considered a violation. According to the complaint, if a cheerleader is at a restaurant and if a player walks in, the cheerleader must leave immediately. And while the Saints have its own regulations for football players, the complaint adds it contains no limitation of contacting cheerleaders.
If we can't talk to the football players need to have the rule and know that they can't talk to us, or, do away with the rule.
We spoke with a former NFL cheerleader who chooses to remain anonymous, but she tells us fraternization rules for industry cheerleaders are nothing out of the ordinary. But legal analyst Joe Responti says most stay-away orders require the person arriving second to leave the venue if they see the other person. He acknowledges the Saints rule is not the norm.
I think that is very onerous, and I have a feeling that that's going to get changed pretty soon.
But Davis says it was another incident the team used as a pretext to fire her, posing for certain types of photos. The handbook reads participation in nude, semi-nude, or lingerie photography is strictly prohibited, and terms for immediate dismissal. Davis says she followed social media guidelines during her time on the team, keeping her profiles private, blocking the players' accounts, and not sharing photos semi-nude or in lingerie. Then she shared this photo in January and was terminated. According to the complaint, the Saints Human Resources Director said the photo calls into question whether Davis followed all team rules on appropriate attire.
That was actually part of her Halloween costume. It was not lingerie, but I can see that they believed that. But regardless of if they believed it was lingerie or not, the discretion isn't the problem. The problem is the rule itself is discriminatory.
The Saints responded to Davis's complaint, releasing this statement. The New Orleans Saints do not tolerate discrimination of any kind, and it specifically denies that Ms. Davis was treated any differently on account of her sex. Blackwell credits the development of Davis's complaint to the Me Too movement, and Responti believes that's one push for the case to create change.
Even if the NFL is not a defendant in this particular case and can extricate themselves from this, they still need to pay attention to this because their member teams are doing things that in 2018 don't pass the smell test.
Responti believes Blackwell will have a tough time winning the gender discrimination case rather than making an argument for workplace discrimination. But Susan Nylon with the Nylon Report argues the issue is clear.
You have a different set of rules for the men and you have a different set of rules for the women. How could you not recognize that it's a gender issue?
Nylon thinks Davis's case will change what happens behind the scenes and hopes women will pay closer attention while signing contracts.
If we start to stand up on a personal level, they'll start to think twice about asking us to behave in that way.
And by filing the complaint, Davis wants the Saints and all NFL teams to change the policies.
I want to be treated like a professional athlete, just like the professional football players are treated like professional football players. I want to be treated like a professional cheerleader.
Davis's attorney says she can't sue the Saints because she signed an arbitration agreement. She has requested arbitration along with a hearing with NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell.
Erica, thank you. Coming up in a moment, Bailey Davis at the Trapezoid.
Designers do it with style.
Tell me what's going on here.
Why, you don't like my hair?
The Mark and Mandy Show. In-depth design ideas.
What is up with the tuck tape here? Let's cover it up.
Amazing beauty and fashion tips.
So Halle Berry has amazing skin. Her secret is coffee grounds. No.
Delicious recipes.
Today, I'm going to show you a special dish that is sure to please that special someone in your life.
Watch the Mark and Mandy Show right here on your favorite channel.
Everybody can make something because I think everyone has a spark of creativity, and the reason that I have to keep making is because I don't think my life would be as fulfilling without it. If you make things yourself, that means you're not cowering in fear. You're out there taking chances. That, I think, is my way of saying I love you to the world. All right, now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
Selfless service is the principle that guides Army National Guard soldiers to be ready whenever disaster strikes. They have a stake in the well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times. Selfless service. It's what inspires the men and women of the Army National Guard to be part of something greater than themselves. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Welcome back. NFL cheerleader claims of gender discrimination and issues over photos. You bet it's going to get attention from here and even to the UK. Sarasota resident Bailey Davis is now at the center of a debate about how NFL teams treat their cheerleaders. Her complaint to the Federal Equal Employment Opportunity Commission is raising all sorts of questions about pay, about posts on social media, but specifically about the fairness of rules, saying if a cheerleader sees a player enter a bar or a restaurant, they have to leave, not the player. And joining us for more are Bailey Davis, a former cheerleader for the New Orleans Saints, her attorney Sarah Blackwell, Susan Nylon of the Nylon Report, and joining us by Skype is Rock Riley of Sports Talk Florida. Bailey, I guess the central issue here is really one that kind of shocks most people in this day and age. Explain it for a moment. Let's say you are out with friends at a bar or restaurant and a member of the team walks in. You're in the middle of a meal. you have to get up and walk out?
Right, not even with the Saints. Any NFL team, if any football player walks in, I have to leave, or NBA.
Yes, Sarah, how usual is this kind of rule in your practice, which is employment law?
I've never seen anything this blatant and this in writing and so egregious. There are dating rules a lot of times where supervisors can't date subordinates and different things like that, but to have rules where there's no prohibitions or limitations on the male football players. They can contact them, reach out to them, do whatever they want, trying to reach the cheerleaders, but the cheerleaders have to hide from them, and they get immediately fired if they don't immediately block them, run out of a restaurant. And like, you know, Bailey doesn't know what every single NFL player looks like. So if a player walks in, she doesn't even know if she could get in trouble without even knowing it, because she doesn't know what they all look like.
Bailey, is it your contention that the team may have suspected that you were at a restaurant or a bar where players were, and that they used the issue of the photograph, which we'll get more into in the next segment, as a pretext to fire you?
So there was a rumor that I was at a party, or I was seen at a party with football players, and they called me into human resources. They had no proof of it, and I denied the rumors. And then after the Instagram picture was posted, they said it discredited me and made them question the fact that I said that I wasn't, and it made me seem like I was seeking players' attention.
Did you have any trouble with your supervisors or the team prior to all that happening?
No, I've never had anything questioned about my social media or been in trouble for being out in New Orleans around players.
Rock, let me ask you this question, because you cover the Buccaneers and professional sports, and I know not only do the Buccaneers have cheerleaders, but there are cheerleader types at the Lightning games, at the Rays, and so forth. Is this a common scenario amongst sports teams that have cheerleaders?
You know what, Alan? I think the NFL, it's the worst. It is ridiculous. I've known a lot of cheerleaders over the years. The rules that they have aren't fair. But the thing about it is, with the NFL, see, Bailey and the other ladies really don't have a lot of leverage. The best players in the world in the NFL, like a Drew Brees, they're the ones that are driving fans to go to games to watch. And if Bailey doesn't cheerlead, or one of the other girls goes by, then they have other girls that are willing to step up and to do it for such low pay. It isn't fair. It's not as bad in other leagues, but maybe this can draw attention to the NFL. Maybe they can change things up a little bit.
You know, Susan, there is also another context here. It's 2018. Sure. And you would think that a lot of these workplace rules have evolved over the years, and apparently, at least when it comes to the NFL, they have not.
Yeah, they haven't. In fact, there's a lot of industries that are still like this, and the only reason they haven't moved forward is because they haven't been brought out into the light, like this, for example. So they've been allowed to exist at this level, at this at a position where they make these women not real people. You know, they don't respect their lives, they don't respect what they bring to the team, and they don't respect their service. And as long as it remains in the dark, it'll always be this way.
All right. It's not going to remain in the dark here. We are just getting warmed up. We'll have much more on Bailey Davis and her complaint against the New Orleans Saints right after we check the first look weather. Stay with us.
My life motto is keep moving. And as hard as it was when my husband passed away, I knew I had to keep doing what I love. Oops, coming. But I needed help with my insurance, and that's what the NAIC provides. They have resources to help you and your family make the best decision, and they'll help you to keep moving forward, just like me.
Chris Domine is a husband, father, an athlete, even an Ironman. But 10 years ago, Chris's kidneys were failing.
The doctor said if you don't do dialysis, if you don't get a kidney transplant, you are going to die.
Then Chris received a second chance, made possible by an organ donor.
Your well-being changes from loss of hope to better times ahead.
Imagine what you could make possible. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. You're gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Go, go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
That is a pretty good breakfast. You're not even eating.
Not hungry.
No? Why not? What's up?
Kath and I knew that Jenny had been partying a bit. Found out she tried heroin.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
Our conversation on Bailey Davis and her complaint against the New Orleans Saints continues right after we get the check on the first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. A beautiful day today. Once again, out on the bay, calm conditions out there. Winds and seas will pick up a little bit due to this front that's going to move through overnight. Not much, though. No advisories anticipated. Should make for a gorgeous sunset tonight. There are a few clouds off in the distance. We could use a little bit of rainfall around. This is the Fire Danger Index, the Keach-Browram Index, which shows you the numbers. When you get in the 500, it's considered pretty dangerous that a fire start, even the ground will burn up into the next tree or brush. So at 527 in Sarasota, the highest number here, and then 524 in DeSoto County. Not as high in Manatee at 470, but I expect it to get to 5 by late next week. Now, there are some showers to the north of us. This is a weak frontal boundary now, stretching out into the Gulf of Mexico. This is a cold front. Behind it, basically some cooler air, but it's going to be modified by the time it reaches us. And so look for just some drier conditions. A little trough of low pressure, prefrontal trough out ahead of it, producing some showers near Daytona Beach. And looks like that rain is really fading away, so no real threat of any significant rainfall here. Here's the futurecast for us. You can see the clear skies from Louisiana all the way through the Carolinas as the front pushes on through. High pressure builds back in pretty quickly, so look for a lot of sunshine tomorrow throughout the afternoon and again on Friday. Now, there's a fast-moving system which will bring us another cold front late Saturday. Saturday is a chance for showers. Picks up a little bit late Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening at about 40%. And that rainfall could be pretty heavy there into Tennessee and Arkansas by late Friday. For temperatures, it's cooling down a little bit in Pensacola, 70 in Tallahassee, still mid-70s at the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport, low 80s inland, 81 in Arcadia right now, and in Venice, it's 75. The Gulf water temperature also starting to heat up a bit at 78, taken at the end of the Venice Pier. Currently, it's 76 at the airport. The dew point 74%, I should say 74% on the humidity. Winds out of the west-northwest at 9. The pressure at 30 inches even. And the high today was 1 degree above the average at 80. 79 was the morning low. So tomorrow looks like this. We'll see a little bit of cloudiness in the morning to start things off. And high temperatures will top out right around average for this time of year into the upper 70s near the beaches. Low to mid 80s inland. Well, it's snow they're dealing with again over parts of New York and into Vermont, New Hampshire. This area of low pressure continues to spin very quickly off to the east. Now, there's another cold front. I mentioned another storm system expected to develop and bring more snow into places like Michigan, also into northeast Ohio, through Cleveland. That'll happen on Friday. Then another one develops on Saturday for Missouri, all the way through Ohio and western portions of Pennsylvania. So the winter weather is not over yet, and there's even another one behind it. Now, the forecast for us for boaters, I mentioned winds out of the northeast, turning to the north at 15 knots. Seas will be running 2 to 3 feet, so a little higher on those seas, but still no major problems as far as any kind of advisories go. So it looks good Thursday, Friday. Saturday, not bad. Morning looks to be good. Early afternoon, not bad. Late afternoon, a chance for showers. Better chance for rain comes on Tuesday of next week. Alan will be back with his guests right after this. Stick around.
Rugs as Art. You know the name. You know the building. But do you know what's inside? Yes, Rugs as Art is Florida's #1 area rug superstore. But there is so much more. amazing furniture, accessories, and art. All this and more. Come see for yourself. You'll love our personal touch and be pleasantly surprised by our affordable prices. Rugs as art and more. There is so much more to explore.
Each day, researchers make discoveries that bring us closer to the moment when all cancer patients can become survivors. Their progress is made possible with the help of clinical trials. Clinical trials are the brightest torch researchers have to light their way towards better treatments. And if you've been diagnosed with cancer, they may be your brightest ray of hope. Speak with your doctor and visit standuptocancer.org/clinical trials to learn more. Together, we can stand up for all of us.
My name is Luke Perry, and I am 1 million strong. I'm in the fight against colorectal cancer because I believe we can win it. Colon and rectal cancers are the second leading cause of cancer deaths among men and women in the U.S. Colon cancer is preventable. Know the risk factors and make sure to get screened. There are simple, take-home options available. Take control of your health. Screening for colon cancer isn't embarrassing. It can be life-saving. To find out more about your options, visit fightcrc.org.
Meet Blue. Blue's not feeling well. The prescription? Generic medication. Blue wonders, do they really work as well as name brands? Yes, generics and name brand medications do work the same. Even though they may look different, generics have the same key ingredients. FDA approval is equally rigorous for generics to make sure they're as safe and effective as name brands. And Blue even saves some green, making him a little less, well, blue. Talk to your doctor about generics and visit fda.gov/generic drugs.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back. We're talking about the case of Sarasota resident Bailey Davis, a former New Orleans Saints cheerleader who is filing a gender discrimination complaint against the team. And joining us for more are Bailey Davis, a former cheerleader for the New Orleans Saints, her attorney Sarah Blackwell, Susan Nylon of the Nylon Report, and joining us by Skype is Rock Riley of Sports Talk Florida. So again, Bailey, did you realize or did you think that after the party issue that you were on thin ice with the team, or did you have any indication about that?
Oh, definitely. I had to talk my way out of that meeting to keep my job. I asked if they had questioned any football players, and they said no. I asked if they had any written proof or photographs or anything, and they said no, it was just a rumor that was going around the football locker room and the Saints office. And they told me, they said, well, how do the players even know who you are? How is your name coming up? And I said I wasn't sure, and they said, well, you need to make your social media private, and we're going to tell that to all the girls.
All right, and I want to get to that in a moment, but Sarah, are the players for the team told if you see a cheerleader at a social event, stay away?
They have absolutely no rules, no prohibitions, no limitations on contacting cheerleaders. So they can do whatever they want and have nothing happen. But if a player contacts the cheerleader can be immediately fired, which is in writing.
And Susan, I would imagine from a legal point of view, and you are a law student,
yeah,
that's what it gets down to in terms of can a workplace have separate rules for different employees like this?
Well, actually, I think Sarah would be the better person to ask, but it's unusual. It really is. It would be discriminatory as far as a non-lawyer would point out. I just don't see it existing.
It's if it's similarly situated is the key.
Right.
So
now,
in pay, they're not similarly situated, so no one's asking for equal pay here. But in the sense of contact and social media, they are similarly situated.
Rock, let me ask you this. I mean, have you heard stories about this very issue happening, whether it's in Tampa with the Bucks or any place else?
Yeah, I've heard about it a lot. I've known a lot of girls, like I said, that were cheerleaders. The Buccaneers used to be called swashbucklers. And this has been going on a long time. Now, as far as pay, I know the Raiderettes got $1.25 million in back pay. New York Jets cheerleaders got $300,000 in back pay, but everything went right back. I just got an email from the Buccaneers here. They're going to have an open call on Sunday, and they'll probably get hundreds of girls that will want to do this. until the girls say, I'm not going to put up with this anymore, then the NFL is going to keep on doing it.
And Bailey, when people have been talking about this, and I've heard this all over, some people say, well, you knew what the rules were and you knew what you were getting yourself into.
Right, it wasn't until after I was terminated that I realized this was all put on me to protect myself from what they call predators, and that the football players didn't have the same rules. And they said in the meeting in the past, if football even mentioned a girl's name, she would be terminated because it looks suspicious.
All right, now here's what I want to get to. You were not fired because of the party incident. You were fired because of what you posted on your own social media page. And we have some video of that we showed earlier, and I hope we could show that. The picture speaks for itself, but at the same time, I want you to take a look, Sarah, at the official New Orleans Saints calendar. If you could come back to us on camera.
In which she was told what to wear. She had no say-so in what she was going to wear.
Okay, so you're in the bikini there. Sarah, you're saying that Bailey was told what to wear. And obviously, you know, it's showing a lot more there than what you're putting on. So when it gets down to the rules, I mean, does that become an issue?
Well, I think one of the most hypocritical things is she had to sell these to be able to dance. I mean, she's an athlete. She's been dancing her whole life. They put her in this outfit, then they tell her, unless you sell so many calendars, you can't even dance. I think that the rules are very hypocritical. However, legally, that's not the cause of action. The cause of action is based on the social media limitations and prohibitions, not the hypocrisy of it.
Susan, you know, there's been so much talk in recent years about whether it's beauty pageants and issues involving objectification of women, and obviously the Me Too movement, which we've been living through for the last half a year or so, if not longer. Many women are bothered by the fact that there are different rules for men and for women, but they're still saying, you know what, we're still celebrating objectifying women in this kind of way.
You know, a woman should be allowed to decide that for herself. I think the hypocrisy is that we have a woman who is asked to portray herself in a certain manner whether you want to call it objectifying or not, it's a very provocative sexual way. And then in turn, in her own personal private life, we're telling her you can't do that.
Button up.
Exactly. So it's a personal individual choice that should not be made by an organization or an institution just because they want to control that woman's life.
Rock, what is your predictions, because you indicated other NFL teams and cheerleaders are making cases of this. Is it coming to a breaking point in the NFL that the NFL, the league itself, is going to tell teams that something has got to change, whether it's involving pay equity here or in terms of these social media posts?
Well, you know what? The loudest voice is the one that gets something done. And maybe what Bailey is doing and making this a national story, then Commissioner Roger Goodell might be able to change a few things. But this has been going on a long time. I know for a fact that there are NFL players that actually dated cheerleaders, and then the cheerleader was forced to quit. So maybe by a story in a station like what you guys are doing or we're doing here, maybe that will help with some changes.
Sarah, what is the goal of this complaint to the EEOC? Because from what I understand, Bailey is not allowed to file a lawsuit. Right. So therefore, what is the object here?
Well, no one can sign away the right to file a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. So we did that on gender discrimination based on the fraternization rules and the social media rules. She signed an arbitration agreement which states that she cannot sue the Saints in court. She has to go through arbitration. We've filed a demand, and all of this is against the Saints and the NFL. And then one of the rules and regulations for which Bailey is bound and the cheerleaders are bound, that is an NFL rule or regulation, says if you do not like a discipline, you can request a hearing with the commissioner of the NFL. So we did that as well. We want equal rules. I mean, that's what we're fighting for. We're advocates for equal rules. So we have the Me Too, which is sexual harassment. We have equal pay, which is a separate issue. This is unequal rules within not only just cheerleading in the NFL, but also NBA, NHL, and so ours is level the playing field.
Right. Now, the NFL has released a statement that reads in part, everyone who works in the NFL, including cheerleaders, has the right to work in a positive and respectful environment that is free from any and all forms of harassment and discrimination and complies with state and federal laws. We should point that out. But Bailey, just from a personal, human point of view, how has this affected you? Because I'm sure the last thing you wanted to do is to become a cause celeb for this issue.
Well, it's been devastating having to lose my dream job over something like this. I've worked my whole life for this. I've been growing up with, as a Saints fan with my family, my mom being the coach. The Saints have been a huge part of my life, so I definitely don't like having to go against the Saints or the NFL, but something has to happen. This needs to be changed for girls that, look up to the Saints stations and say, I want to be a professional cheerleader when I grow up. This is for them.
Has anybody from the Saints or the NFL reached out to you, people that you may have, used to work with, to basically let you know how they feel?
Former Saints stations have been very supportive, saying thank you so much for speaking out. We were never brave enough to, because you don't want to lose your job. Former cheerleaders, not so much. I've been told that current Saints stations have said that I'm putting the team in a negative light, or I'm being selfish by doing this, and I don't think that at all. This is everything but selfish. Speaking out is the hardest thing I've ever done.
And other NFL from different teams, from NBA, from even some colleges have reached out to both of us. So it's not just the Saints-ations. I mean, she's received a lot of support, and other cheerleaders from all different teams saying thank you, we really appreciate it.
All right, we have to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts in just a moment. Stay with us.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
This is your brain, this is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions. Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Thanks to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, what was once impossible is happening today for thousands of patients with blood cancer.
I live.
I live. I live. I live.
I live.
She lives.
Because of the research done by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in the battle against blood cancer.
If you had a chance to support the research that is saving lives, what would you do?
About every 3 minutes in America, someone is diagnosed with a blood cancer. Light the Night brings together survivors and supporters to bring light to the darkness of cancer and to help fund life-saving research. Our goal is a world without blood cancers, and we're lighting the path to cures. The discoveries made in blood cancer research have led to breakthrough treatments for many cancers and other serious diseases. Help defeat the darkness of cancer. Join Light the Night today.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
And our guests join us right now for final thoughts. And Rock Riley, we're going to start with you. What do you make of this, and what should people, NFL fans, sports fans, make out of what Bailey is going through right now?
I wish Bailey all the success in the world with this, but I always believe if you don't have leverage, it's really hard to win. You know what? Life isn't fair in the NFL. Odell Beckham Jr. of the Giants is treated differently because he's so good than the backup center. Remember, there's 3 teams that don't even have cheerleaders: the Bears, the Giants, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And those organizations are strong. So I wish her well, but it's going to be tough.
You know, Susan, what do you take out of this conversation? And especially, what would you say to young women who are watching this right now and don't like what they see?
So I would say they have a role in this. We can't leave it to the cheerleaders to defend this issue. We have to take it to the next step. The female fans of the game of football, or just the female fans of another female, need to step up and help. They need to apply pressure to the NFL, and they need to demand a change, because if it doesn't directly affect them, it affects all of us. And if the NFL continues to get away with this, then everybody else is going to keep going.
So Sarah, where does this complaint stand right now, and how soon will we see whatever the EEOC does with it?
EEOC will take forever. It's a government agency. The arbitration usually will take about 6 months to a year. We don't know if we'll hear back from the commissioner with our request for a hearing. But I mean, what I would like to say for the final thoughts is, I don't care if 1 billion people want a job. It gives no one the right to treat someone in such a discriminatory and disgusting way. And to call someone's character into question because they may have been at a party or because they post a certain picture, I don't care how many girls want that job. It's not okay, and that's why we're standing up. And we hope the NFL and the Saints and any other team pays attention and says, can we just have equality? It doesn't cost them a penny to make the rules equal.
And Bailey, what do you want young women who are watching this right now to know? Because there may be a lot of young women who are aspiring to have the job that you had and lost.
Well, I hope they're empowered by this, and I hope this becomes a movement. I mean, if they get rid of the cheerleaders, what are you going to say to the little 6-year-olds, you know, on their Pee Wee cheer squad? You can't actually grow up to be a cheerleader.
And quick question, because you talked about other cheerleaders reaching out to you. Did any players reach out to you? If so, what did they say?
I've had one player reach out and show us support and say, you know, this is insane. We're all adults here. We shouldn't have rules on who we can date or who we can't date. And also, it is discriminating, but no one has spoken out publicly. All
right, Bailey, good luck. FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. And for the latest on local breaking news, don't forget to download the updated version of our app. If your current app doesn't work, it's expired, just go to the App Store and re-download it by searching for WWSB or My Suncoast. We want to thank all our guests: Bailey Davis, a former cheerleader for the New Orleans Saints, her attorney Sarah Blackwell, Susan Nylon of the Nylon Report, and joining us by Skype, Rock Riley of Sports Talk Florida. When we return, we'll have a final look at your first weather. Plus, are we on the verge of a trade war with China?
ABC7 is gearing up for this year's JDRF One Walk on Saturday, April 7th at Nathan Benderson Park, and we'd love for you to join us. Hi, I'm Jacqueline Matter, and this is my friend Emma Bella, who lives with type 1 diabetes.
The JDRF One Walk helps raise awareness and funds for kids with type 1 diabetes, and it's fun too.
Walk with us and make a difference.
And help kids like us.
For more information, visit walk.jdrf.org.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
I'll be right back.
Performing on stage takes mental and physical preparation. But one thing I never thought to prepare for was cervical cancer. 91% of cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. The good news is there are vaccines that can protect you or your children from cancer. I survived my cancer, but you can stop cancer before it starts. Talk to your doctor and go to thinkaboutthelink.org to learn more.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get a final check on our first alert forecast with meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. Lakewood Ranch webcam showing what was going on this late evening. And you can see we had just a few clouds around late in the day, but generally fair skies there right now. And a beautiful sunset, by the way. Music on Main Friday looks to be good. Now there's a front moving through tomorrow morning. Not going to do a whole lot to our weather. The day planner looks good for Thursday. We will see maybe a little bit more cloudiness around from 7 to noon, and then sunshine at 3. Just a little bit of cloudiness back at 7 o'clock. Temperatures, though, as you see, remaining right around seasonal averages. So this front is not going to chill us out much at all. Just going to bring a little bit drier air our way. Well, the front itself is still back here, just south of Gainesville now. There was some showers earlier just to the west of us, and some of that debris cloudiness now spilling in across the Sun Coast, but generally partly cloudy skies. A few showers off Cape Canaveral now, continuing to head off to the east. A little bit of light rainfall along I-75 in between Ocala and Gainesville. So here's the futurecast. The front continues to push through. It should be through our area. Right around sunrise, it starts to move through and be through our area by noon. You won't really notice it much. That dry air moves in and high pressure slips off to the east. Once that high pressure gets to the east, it'll moisten up again as early as late Friday evening, and Friday night, Saturday morning, that moisture comes back into place. Moisture meaning the dew point temperature will start to rise again in advance of the next front, which is due to arrive late Saturday afternoon, more so in the evening. A chance for a few showers. 76 right now at the Sarasota-Brayton Airport, downtown Sarasota 75. 78 the Gulf water temperature, same temperature now in Arcadia, 72 in Cortez. Currently at the airport it's 76, and winds out of the northwest-northwest at 9. Those winds will switch to the northeast beginning tomorrow once the front moves on through. Well, the big story has been the late attack of snowstorms. Another one is moving through the northeast now, and get this, there are a series of 3 other storms that will move through over the course of the next 7 days. Another big storm out west with a ton of moisture, going to cause all sorts of significant problems with flooding throughout the western states. Now, I mentioned that snowfall. It's not all that heavy at this time, but it is causing some problems from Cleveland over to Toledo and near Detroit. Just a little bit of snowfall there. Our futurecast for the European model showing just a little bit of cloudiness around tomorrow morning, and then Friday we start to moisten back up. Here comes the front on Saturday. You can see it mainly to the north of us, a lot of rainfall. Not much for us. A better chance comes after 6 p.m. for a few passing showers, and another front is due to arrive on Tuesday of next week, as a little bit better chance for rain then. Jumps up to 50%. So for boaters tomorrow, looks good. Northeast winds turn to the north. It'll be a bit brisk in the morning at 15 knots, so mariners take that warning. Winds subsiding somewhat 5 to 10 late in the afternoon. Here's the extended forecast. A better chance for rain comes Tuesday. Temperatures, though, remaining upper 70s to low 80s through the next 7 days. Al will be back with primetime headlines right after this.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
Set your course for a waterfront lifestyle on Florida's last private island. Discover one particular harbor by Margaritaville. Nearby sugar sand beaches are as easy to find as the warm Florida sunshine. Waterfront residences from the high 400s overlook beautiful Anna Maria Sound. And a new marina with direct access to the Gulf of Mexico. Plus, incredible savings on move-in ready homes. Come tour designer models today. Visit ophmintousa.com now.
The skills you develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you a head start on your career. Gain practical experience with technology and equipment that will give you a leg up in the civilian world. Learn critical leadership skills and to be part of a team. Serve your community and your country part-time while earning money for an education. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn about the paid training and career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Every time you purchase a fishing license or register your boat, you're helping to preserve our nation's coastlines, lakes, rivers, and streams, protecting memories for generations to come. Learn how your participation in boating and fishing can help the environment at takemefishing.org/conservation.
Checking primetime headlines, fears of a possible trade war with China continue after Beijing announced a 25% levy on U.S. imports, including products like soybeans, cars, and whiskey. ABC's Serena Marshall has more.
New fears of a trade war. The Chinese responding to the U.S.'s plan to impose tariffs on $50 billion of Chinese goods, with a reciprocal $50 billion tariff on U.S. products. That hit consumers and companies like Ford, General Motors, and Boeing, as the higher tariffs could mean job losses and higher prices.
It could open the door for European, Japanese, and in some cases Chinese products to take up some of that market share.
The new fees on 106 American products may never go into effect. China has filed a dispute with the World Trade Organization, and both sides are now negotiating. But if the trade war intensifies, it hit everything from soybeans to cars, planes, and orange juice. After the announcement overseas, the stock market opened sharply down. As anxious as American businesses are, the trade showdown, not a trade war, at least according to the president. Tweeting this morning, "We are not in a trade war with China. That war was lost many years ago by the foolish or incompetent people who represented the U.S."
Look, China created this problem, not President Trump, but we finally actually have a president who's willing to stand up and say enough is enough. We're going to stop the unfair trade practices.
The Chinese Minister of Commerce said they only responded in kind. But they aren't afraid of a trade war if that's what it comes to.
The Senate Majority Leader warned of a slippery slope if a trade war does happen, and he's concerned that it could hurt the U.S. economy. Republicans on Capitol Hill worried any gains seen by their tax law will slip away. But even so, the Dow closed up 200 points. Serena Marshall, ABC News, Washington.
For this evening, I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.